I am trying to set up something I should have set up a little earlier, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm getting these text. Where is it? Text. Here we go. Duration. Right here. I'm just trying to get these little things in the right spot. So I got them all set up now. And it took me a little longer than I thought. Stream title. There we go. And viewers. Where did that go? Oh, there it is. Viewers. I haven't notified anybody that I'm streaming or anything yet, so I wonder if I can just take these and wholesale copy paste them. That would be awesome. Let's try. Paste duplicates. I got one. All right, so that was viewers, copy on here. I'm gonna move that though. Move it over here. And paste stream titles in the right spot. Oh, I could probably want to make that smaller. That's not exactly what I anticipated. I didn't want that to run across the whole screen like that, but it's fine. It's small. It's a little small, but it's okay. It'll do. Okay, lock. Chat is over here. That works. Okay. I think I am streaming. I'm streaming, right? Yeah, okay. Sorry for you guys on YouTube. I might cut this stuff out, but I'm just trying to set my Twitch stream up right. And a lot of the things you cannot really test until you go live. So I think this is somewhat expected. Paste a duplicate, streaming 8 minutes, okay. So then I got the whiteboard view. And let's paste, oh, I should have done this a little differently. It doesn't matter. Title, copy. So in the whiteboard view, I want the same as the hero. Stream title, copy, whiteboard. Paste, duplicate, there it is. And then the number of viewers I will take from the hero screen too. Hello, one viewer. I'm just sort of getting started. Got a lot of stuff I want to do today, but there we go. There we go. So these are the main screens I'm going to be using. Whiteboard. Hello, Will. Here, yeah, this view to talk to chat and screen share. All right, that's where I'm at. Okay. Before I do anything too crazy, let my people know. Let me close my email. Let me let people know that I'm streaming. Let's see, live. No, let's just say streaming HTM community work on Twitch now. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. And I'll copy the URL. I don't know how much crossover I'm really getting on Twitter. If you're coming from Twitter and you're coming to Twitch, let me know. That if I brought you to Twitch, that'd be really interesting to know. Okay, that's some Cahal drawings I was looking at earlier. And I should put on the forum, refresh the forum. Where's my Twitch thread? Here it is. Okay. Streaming now. Working on 2D, answering forum posts, then working on 2D object recognition test descriptions. That's what I want to do anyway. What are the other places I'm supposed to? Oh, Discord. Discord. Here's Discord, by the way. I need to go there and let people know I'm live. You know, I know there's a way to program my Stream Deck to like do this, to just announce. All right, streaming community projects on Discord. Here we go. I'll open up the live stream and see how this works too. I'll open up voice, so if anybody wants to try and jump on voice with me, as long as it's on topic. I do want to work on community stuff, so I don't want to just like do general neuroscience chat. If you want to do that, we'll do that on Mondays. Let's see here. Before I get into this, I want to sort of think about what I'm going to do today. So that was like, this was working perfectly. That used to be, this is like brand new. That's a brand new, I don't get that. Okay, forum, and there's still more PRs. Now one of them is from Will, I think, on the 2D project. The other is on HTM school visualizations, and that's been sitting there for a little while, but I want to look at it because I think I might want to try and get, I can't get this running, I should get it running. I'll have to run NuPic for this because I think it's a spatial pooler. It's involved with the spatial pooler visualization, so I'll probably look into that too. And then we're going to do the 2D object recognition tests. We're going to look at tests. And so I'm going to look at that Gherkin framework and see if we can write some language environment agnostic tests. And I'm not going to worry about visualizations anymore. I'm just going to define tests and decide what is the challenge going to be. We could define a bunch of different tests, you know. Just testing, like setting up the structure of the system. How, after touch 1, what do you expect? So, and we're going to have to define some terms, you know, too. What do we mean by touch 1 and movements and all that stuff? So I think we'll talk about that. Okay, but for right now, I twitched, I discorded, I forumed. I think I'm just going to go catch up on forum stuff. Oh, Hackers Hangout. If any of you guys on Twitch, I held a monthly Hackers Hangout on YouTube, and I'm still doing that on YouTube. And I looked into Twitch to see if maybe it would replace Hackers Hangout, and it might in the future, but I'm not ready to jump yet because I still have good attendance here from some important people in the HTM community. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. So if you want to join live, you'll have to go to YouTube. So look at the YouTube channel down in my Twitch description and my Twitch page. We're going to talk about the Python 3 movement. This is still, I'm not going to be stress-free until we're Python 3, until we have an HTM and Python 3. And I'm going to talk about the NuPic and the community fork and naming things, is particularly in Python 3, how we're going to name things. I will talk about NuPic.torch, which is a PyTorch project that we're going to open source real soon. I just have to run through that's another thing I got to do, but I'm not going to do that on Twitch. OS review. Usually when you have a company and you want to open source some code that you developed internally, or you have to go through some review. Although all of it was open source in the HTM research repo anyway, I still want to look at it because it was constructed in a private repository and review the license and all that stuff. Oh yeah, Falco, are you on? Falco, are you there? Let's see. I can see. No, I don't think he's on yet. But so if you're watching, I don't think it makes. I think the 2D object recognition project is perfectly designed for what we need to. Well, I wouldn't say perfect, but the way I designed it was specifically to test without orientation, because we don't know how that really works yet. So just one of those sensory motor loops are we going to actually be testing or exercising in this. So I think it's fine the way it is. Now, moving forward, I think we want to design it in a way that we can add orientation. and I think we can do that. And fitting them together, I got some ideas about that. One thing. Why isn't this? So I just saw a. Is this chat working? Test. Yeah, it's working. Why didn't I see that? I must just be missing some of the chats that roll by. I'm sorry, guys. Tachyon was saying, you're optimistic you can get this kicking in 5 years? You mean the 2D object recognition thing? Oh, come on. We have to just, we haven't even got to the point where we're defining tests. We'll define the tests, and I think then we have to start building solutions. There we go. So there's chat. I can see it here. I'm just making sure I can see it on all the places. Whiteboard chat. Okay, cool. I just set up the new overlay, hexagons. So we'll talk. We'll work on that. I'm gonna get through some. I need to get through some forum stuff. So okay. I was worried about this because I didn't write this paper. So someone is reading the HTM spatial pooler paper. Let's just work. I'm gonna do forums later. I think let's just work on object recognition. I'm gonna have to come back, and I don't want to just go through all of the forum posts while I'm sitting in front of you guys. Let's do something a little bit more meaningful. So let's do some technical work. Is that more appealing than me just going through answering forum posts? Sometimes I think maybe it's good for the community to see that, but then sometimes I think maybe I'm just a narcissist. There's a fine line between being outgoing and extroverted. You're here for the forum posts. Okay, maybe I should do it. As long as anybody else doesn't mind. It'd probably take me maybe half an hour, and then I'll get right back into it. Okay, if you guys don't mind, then I'll go ahead and do it. Okay. Back to where I was. So this paper, let me get it. I haven't read this paper in a while. I think it was a SDR paper, it's called, yeah. So, I mean, I don't even have it downloaded. Here it is, the HTM spatial pooler neocortical algorithm. It's in Frontiers. Is it probably in supplementary material? Yeah, so the code base for this is actually here in HTM papers. So for me to test this is hopefully using NuPIC spatial pooler to do these tests. And it's testing entropy, which measures the efficient use of columns. I've talked about that before when we talk about boosting. We're sort of boosting entropy when we do that. You want the entropy so that the semantic meaning can spread, has a space to spread through. If you latch on to something, then you overload it. Anyway, stability, same image map, yeah. So it's just testing the metrics that we've defined that a spatial pooler should have. A variety of data sets were included, random SDRs, varying inputs. So there's a Python train with some data set, whether to use boosting or not. This is, I don't know what -c is. This is whether to use the C++ or the Python version, and track overlap curve. Okay, so train SP. Are there any requirements? So I'm not sure how. I haven't tried to run any of this stuff. Experiment descriptions. Let's look at this. Okay. So we've got random SDRs with a fixed sparsity. Okay. This is nice. Okay. Okay. So let's go make. I gotta go get a Python 2 environment. And make sure that I can run NuPIC, which kind of sucks. hold on. Okay. All right, let's get a shell open here. Let's see who's chatting and. Okay. Something else. All right, so I'm gonna try not to get too distracted here. I'm gonna turn discourse off. I'm gonna leave chat on, so you guys certainly ping me if you have questions or anything, but forgive me if I don't take any off-topic stuff, because I'd love to try and knock this out. This is my little live streaming server. It goes and pulls Twitch every minute to get how many viewers I have, and and updates text files on my computer, and then the broadcasting software reads the text files. That seems to be the best way to do it. Honestly, I tried it with a web server, and it was just and a browser overlay, and it just didn't work well. I had to get WebSockets involved. This is so much simpler. Sometimes it's simpler just to write files and read them than HTTP, for sure. All right, so I know I've got a Python 2 environment. First, let's go into NTA NewPick. I have so many branches. Oh, this isn't too bad. Okay, so I'm on master. Git pull, let's make sure I got the latest stream master. Okay. I don't even have that installed. Okay, let's virtual ends. I've got a NewPick Py2. Hopefully that's still good. Source Python, man. Oh, virtual ends bin activate. So I'm activating a virtual environment for Python 2. So I should have Python. Oh shoot. What? Python doesn't work in this? Oh man, so the Python version I built this on, I may have deleted. Okay, oh crap. That's not what I wanted to do. I meant to exit the virtual environment, not the, So in mine's System Python? Okay. I might just use System Python, because that's what I used to do before. And I'm already there, okay. Python setup, let's just see if this works. Permission denied, I have to do user. There we go. Okay, so I hate doing that without being in a virtual environment, but my Python environment's so jacked up anyway. It just is what it is. Okay, so at least I know NewPick is installed properly. So let me go get, I think I have HTM papers. I'm gonna open that in a new shell. I think it's an NTA HTM paper. I don't have it on this Mac. This Mac is a little bit newer than my other ones, so. Let's go get it, clone it, copy. Let me make a fork. I think I have a fork. I do. Okay, so I have a fork already. So I just need to clone this and set it as origin, and then the other one will be the upstream. So this is typical Git stuff. I'm gonna go into my NTA directory, that's my Memento projects, Git clone HTM papers. Oh, it already exists. It didn't have a dash. Okay, so it's here. It's here anyway. I thought I had it, okay. Where's my remotes? I've got, my origin is mine and upstream is good. Okay, git pull upstream master. Make sure my origin is clean in case I create a PR or something. Okay, all is good. Please, all should be good. All right. All right, so here's where we are. I want to go into Frontiers, right? It was Frontiers, and then the HTM spatial pooler. Frontiers, the HTM spatial pooler, and here's where we are. I think I can get rid of this, and we can just worry about this guy. Pippi and V, I kind of do, but I mean, I definitely do for new projects. For this, I might, unless I hit a brick wall, I'm just gonna just try and make this work. So we'll see. All right, so let's see what this wear and tears. Wear and tear. Has he filled the profile out yet? No, don't know much about wear and tear. Been around since February. So relatively new user asking or trying to run the code for this. Both the 1D and 2D examples give me errors. Okay, the errors being, I can't see this very well. Let's see if I can fix this code formatting. I guess dash is the 1D case, lots of parameters, mean number, active columns, traceback. And then what is all this jazz? I think he just put this sort of just denote. Yeah, so I'm just gonna reformat this. I do this a lot. People don't post code very well. Okay, so that's better. Now I can read it better. All right. So here's what they're trying to train. So let's see. I haven't tried this at all. So let's see if this works for me. Nope. Or did it? Type unbound method trigger manager draw must be called with backend map. Oh, this is gonna be a matplotlib problem, I bet. If this is, yeah. Matplotlib. So matplotlib is one of the most excellent and worst things about Python. It's bad because of this. So if his errors are based on matplotlib, matplotlib, I don't know what you're gonna call it. But that's not the error he or she is getting. Spatial plural object has no attribute local density. So that's not even the error that he's getting. Mean number of active columns. So what happened with mine? So it ran something. The traceback came. In plot. There's probably a way to prevent the plot. Let's look at the code. Train SP. There's probably some options in here. Hey Richard, how are you doing? I need like a noise or something when a chat pops up. Maybe I can do that. It'd be nice because sometimes chat pops up and I have no idea what happens. Settings, notifications. Also play a sound. It's just so quiet I don't hear it, I guess. Anyhow, hi Richard. I'm trying to, somebody had a question about one of our older papers on HTM Spatial Pooler, trying to run the code that should run and having a problem. And this error, spatial pooler object has no attribute local area density, makes it seem like perhaps they're running an old version of, or they're running a new version, maybe of NewPick, because this may have been one of the breaking changes. Let me do a quick search on this, local area density. So this is popping up. Let's spatial pooler parameter descriptions. Local area density. Okay, but that was like, that's not what I want. I want the exact string, not with the KJ exception when serializing, columns activating without input when using topology. See, I think this is just giving me, it's not giving me the search that I want. It's searching for local area density, but without the underscore, which is exactly what I don't want. Anyway. This is not a good warning because it makes it seem like something internal broke. Because let's go look at the code in SP metrics. Oh, I think there is something broken here. Let's go look. Framework. Oh, or they're using an old version of HTM Research. But that shouldn't be the case because that is already installed. That should have been, so here, so I can see some of the problems coming up here. First of all, what version of NewPick and HTM Research are we expected to have installed here? This contains reproducible code, HTM spatial pooler, the sources. Oh, that's, yeah, this is the source code. Does it say anything about, I'm gonna go back to this error. So from run SP experiments, reconstruction error in run SP experiments. Let's go look directly at that in train SP. I'm gonna open up PyCharm. No, yeah, why not? Why not? I think I have a very old version of this. It doesn't matter. Okay. I have probably never opened this before, so this is going to be HTM papers, not date modified. Name. Where's the name? Well, why can't I sort by name? Why can't I sort by name? HTM papers. All right, and I'm going to go all the way into Frontiers, HTM spatial pooler. We're just going to look at this. Just going to look at this. Will says you haven't tried Pippi and V on the beast. That's NewPick. Should make it easier, right? I would hope. Okay, train SP is the code we're looking at here, and it's quite the code. Okay, 553 in a function called reconstruction error. Here we are, right here. So in this metrics append, or oh no, where's reconstruction error coming from? SP metrics in HTM Research. Okay, so I actually followed it right in because I have it installed. And that is line 836 right here, where it's saying sp.local area density. So this SP, it's getting, oh, it's being passed in. So this SP should have a property, private property that this, so this is a bad, I hate to say this is bad code. This function this is a code smell called inappropriate intimate, wait, what is it? Intimate, something knows too much about something else. So this function, reconstruction error, knows that this SP that's being passed into it will have a private property called local area density, underscore local area density. Underscore typically means it shouldn't be used outside of itself. You know, it's sort of an protected or property, private property. Inappropriate intimacy, that's this code smell that we're seeing right here. Reconstruction error has inappropriate intimacy to SP. So the SP, I might have to, see, I can't replicate this because why? Because matplotlib. So that kind of sucks. So I want to try and replicate this, and then I can put a breakpoint in the code. So I need to move past this stupid matplotlib error just by, this is in 402. I'm just going to prevent matplotlib from trying to plot anything. Or maybe it's, yeah, that's what I'll do. I mean, I could try and fix matplotlib, but I don't really care. So I don't really care about this stuff. So let's just run it. Let's run it and see if that works. Okay. What's the error now? Another matplotlib error. SP metrics 654. I can't fix everything, so I'm gonna just try and fix frameworks SP paper. So we're going into a completely different, we're going into a different paper. Shoot. Okay. So I need to open this at a different level. Flippin' A. Okay, where were we? NTA. HTM papers, and I'm just gonna open the bottom level and we'll find them from here. Okay. It's not worth looking at. Okay. Okay, where were we here? I was in the HTM spatial pooler, train SP. This is where I did the other thing, and then I'm going to SP metrics line 554. So SP, no, hoping. Okay, the shortcuts I'm expecting to work don't work. That sucks. New, oh, okay, SP metrics. There we go. So this is in research. Oh, this is in research. Research is calling plots? Shoot. Maybe I can prevent this from happening. In train SP, run SP experiments, no. Inspect, so train SP 447. 447. Inspect spatial pooler stats. Inspect the statistics of spatial pooler given a set of input vectors. So this is, okay, this is specifically for a paper. But why is it coming out of HTM research? I don't really understand, but, okay, that's fine. Is this doing any tests? I don't think it's saving figures, it's plotting things, it's returning a figure, but I don't know that it's, I may be able to just turn it off. Let's try. I just want to try and replicate this error that this user's getting. Again, hey, there it is. Got it. Replicated the error. Oh, I hit the wrong button. It's supposed to be this. Okay, I replicated the error, so now let's debug right into that, because this is in SP paper, SP metrics, line 1, 836, I think, 836. Actually, all I need to do is stop it right before we send it to it in 553 and inspect this and wonder why it doesn't have, is this the place? Train SP 553, no, 553. Okay, let's stop it right here. Let's see. Now I gotta figure out how to run this like debug mode, not this one, frontiers, the spatial pooler. So I need to run this. This isn't gonna work, so I'm gonna create a run configuration for it. It's fine. Train SP edit configuration. So the path what this person was running was -d random bar pairs. So we're gonna try that. -d random bar pairs. Apply, okay. Let's try it again. No, we're still getting a call. What's the matter here? Unknown data type? That doesn't make sense. Unknown data type? Why would params get SDR set params? I did something wrong with the configuration, didn't I? Oh, maybe it's maybe I should run it from a different directory. Probably. I probably need to run it from a different working directory. Well, where am I now? Because this worked. At least I'm getting... No. Python train. Okay, let's figure this out. Edit configuration. Let's make sure that Python's right. Does anybody have any ideas? You like my new background, Film Tire? I'm glad. Hello, Mark Brown. Awesome. Hexagons. Living and breathing hexagons. Okay, so the path to the script, the environment, project default, Python 2.7, sure. Working directory, that should work. Add content routes to Python path. I guess I probably want to do that. This should work. I don't know why it doesn't work. I don't know why I expect it to work when I run it again. There's obviously something wrong. Okay, let's try this. Now, so it's telling me the unknown data type. So let's look in here and see if there's something in here that specifies a data type. It's like, this is like a configuration for this experiment to run. Change data set at, don't do that. Boosting random data set random bar. Oh, it's the ticks. It's the apostrophes. Perfect. I should have looked a little closer at the error message, shouldn't I have? Okay, so I don't want these little ticks right here, if you can barely see them, but there they are. Okay, please work this time. All right. Okay, now I can debug it, and that breakpoint should catch. Python 2 development, just not for very much longer. Okay, we hit the breakpoint. All right, so our SP, what the heck is it? If it, I mean, because it says it's a spatial pooler. How do I make this text bigger? It's insanely small. It's insanely small. I'm gonna have to get glasses. I have this. I'm just joking. I don't really need that yet. But this thing, this spatial pooler right here certainly does not have anything attached to it. It's a swig object. It's a proxy for the spatial pooler. So let's execute keys. Won't this tell me the object names? Object.keys. Wait. Isn't keys a global Python function that I can call on anything? I should just be able to do this like dict, right? SP, or is it sp.keys? Nope. How do you list the properties of a Python object? How many times have you guys ran this search? This is probably a pretty common search. Dir, okay, dir. I was thinking, that's right, SP. Oh my God. Okay, so this is definitely some type of weird proxy object. Does it even have, so it does not have the, what was it called, local area density? It does not have a local area density, that's for sure. This might be a legitimate, I think I'm gonna have to tell Lewis about this. I think I'm gonna have to file a bug about this because I don't really know, I don't really understand what the problem is. It seems like it might be an issue with swig. Because this is a swig object, and it may be that we changed, because we've changed stuff in this, no, that's not the issue. It's probably something we changed and forgot about, honestly. I think this is a bug. Okay, I think this is a bug. Okay, so let's go to github.com, Numenta HTM papers. There it is. Issues. Let's create a bug. Question about running the HTM spatial pooler program. Opened 24 days ago. I didn't even see this. Or if I did, I don't remember it. I did see it. My memory's so bad. Okay, I'm gonna close this issue. It was a question. All right, issues, new issue. Bug in, I'm not just gonna call it a bug. We're gonna label it a bug. And I'm gonna sign, not me, I'm gonna sign Lewis, because he's the one that'll end up working on it. Certainly needs a form of constant accessor. Honestly, yeah, this just looks bad. You can't, anytime you're dot underscoring anything that is not part of your class hierarchy, it's bad. Don't do it. Okay.
Brains.
Hey, thanks for the follow, Vamsi. Hope I said that right. Doing a little bit of Python. Well, this all came from a forum report that our code didn't work right in one of our papers, and I just replicated the error, so I'm going to file a bug. Okay, so missing property on SP in HTM. What is this called? SP. HTM on for SP paper. I don't know what to, I don't really have a nickname for this paper. HTM SP paper. And corporate SP and HTM SP paper. Okay, see original report on HTM forum. That's going to be this one. I was able to replicate the error below. Let's go grab the error I got. This looks like inappropriate intimacy. Code smell. The SP instance is a swig wrapper, and it has no local area density property. What did you say, Richard? Probably needed some. This probably needs to be addressed in the C by adding some type of constant accessor. I'm not gonna worry. The MATLib is my problem, not this code's problem. And this is old, so I'm gonna keep my complaining to new code. SP instances swig wrapper has no local area property. May need to add a constant accessor in the C++ bindings. Yeah, I'm going to CC you, Richard, since you had that comment. Okay. All right, thank you for the report. I think this is a bug. I've filed a report. Boom. Okay. One down. One forum message down. How long did that take me? You guys timing? Half an hour? I dread stuff like that because I saw that yesterday and I was like, oh, that's going to take a while. Mark, see the last post in how to generate place fields and grid cells. See abstract and linked posts. Here we show that a large fraction of medial entorhinal cortex neurons fire specifically when mice are at given distances and directions from spatially confined objects. These object vector cells are tuned equally to the spectrum of discrete objects, irrespective of their locations in the test arena. Yeah. So I am familiar with object vector cells to a point. At least I've heard them being discussed a bunch in research meetings, especially between Marcus and Mirko. So they've got a bunch of ideas about that. I haven't been keeping up. That's pretty deep into research. If you want to window into that, just keep watching research meetings because they'll eventually come up again. Maybe that's something I could talk to Jeff about, and we could have another chat. But I know that they've certainly thought a lot about object vector cells as a part of this idea of object representation and recognition. This algorithm decodes rat squeaks. There have been repeated questions about possible research problems. Here's an interesting one. I'm going to skip this. I might take a look at it later. Okay. Oh yeah, this was the question from Freeman. Hi Freeman, if you're watching. Thanks for your interest and for starting this topic. I think it's interesting. I didn't quite understand what you meant at first. I was just thinking along the lines of anomaly detection. If you're, sorry. So it matters whether it's going up or down. So you are sort of trying to do a sequential classification, and so I think that you would need to run temporal pooling with it, and temporal pooling is hard. We're still trying to figure out how that works. So he's just saying, after discussing with Paul, thanks Paul for helping him out, I understand it's possible to prevent NUPIC from getting accustomed to the spikes in the presence of seasonal trends by setting the forgetting rate to a suitable value. I think it might be possible to detect whether an anomaly is a step up or step down by comparing the actual value at the point time with the predicted value. That's definitely possible. Yes, it does. Yes. Yes, it can. I'm not sure if it does by default, but I know it can. I've seen them both. I'm interested in what you're talking about, Mark, but I'm not. I don't think I'm prepared to. I don't have the background that you have on it. Discussions on the idea of pooling input in the context of orientation. So just with the post I'm at right now. Wait a minute. I thought you were still referring to border or object vector cells. So you're talking about different attack slope as part of the issue with this. Time step is critical. Yeah, and he's saying that maybe if you can get the prediction or a history of predictions, or even maybe you could do step ahead prediction, like you could predict. You could get the prediction. And your other point was, it is, the attack slope thing. Yeah. I'm not missing anything on this because I think, I'm not. I certainly, if he's trying to do sequence classification, you can't do it with NUPIC today. So I want to be clear about that. But he might be able to do step up, step down identification with a combination of anomaly detection. So how big at this time step, like how big a change is happening? So the only thing you can do that I can think of with NUPIC is have some step ahead classification of what you think the prediction is going to be. I don't know if it's valuable to have it one versus many steps ahead. Maybe one would be just as good as many and won't be as intense to do. That would be pushed to the encoder space. A delta code for anomalies. So are you talking about running another system to do anomaly detection on the anomaly score, sort of like the anomaly likelihood is doing? I'm a little confused. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's definitely possible. Just like the anomaly likelihood window does a pretty simple, mean type of thing. I don't know exactly what it does. There's videos about it. But yeah, you could do a whole other anomaly detection on the anomaly score. I don't think we've tried that, but that's interesting. That could certainly be done. Okay. Discussions on the idea of, did I miss the first one? Yeah, okay. In this recent live stream, yeah, this is the one we just saw yesterday with Jeff. It's in the video history if you want to look at it. It was about an hour and 20 minutes, but we talked all about the cortical column. Okay, so Jeff introduced the big idea that the initial function performed on input that comes into the cortical column is to pool those inputs with an orientation signal. In the discussion, he concluded that the output of this function would be equivalent to place cells. This theory makes a lot of sense to me, fills some gaps in earlier models like sensory orientation and scaling. However, where I became a little stuck in understanding of theory is with what happens after the initial function. In the whiteboard diagram, Jeff depicts the output of place cells being used as the input to a layer which gets its context from grid cells representing location. One of the things I want to do for, because I'm gonna get rid of this. Well, I know what to do here. One of the things I'm going to do, we're supposed to have an AI chat Monday at 1. I'm gonna take the cortical column diagram that Jeff drew, and I'm gonna summarize it. And I'm going to, in a way, I'm gonna try and summarize it. And I think the way I'm going to summarize it is attempt to do a data flow diagram. So this will be a fun thing to do, because I don't quite get the whole picture yet. I'm still trying to put it together. So this will be a learning experience for me so if you haven't watched this live stream that Paul's talking about, and you're going to attend our AI chat on Monday, you might want to check it out. It's got a link to it here. Anyway, Jeff depicts this output of place cells being used as the input to another layer which gets its context from grid cells representing location. And this seems redundant to me. Grid cells represent a specific point on a specific object. Excuse me, but isn't that the same information as the output of the first function, which is also a representation of a specific point on a specific object? The output of the first function, I'm gonna have to look at the diagram and draw through this. It seems like the output of the first function is the location. The output of the first function isn't a location though, it's really all about orientation. I thought or it's a place. It's not, a location is not a place, right? So the place that gets triggered sort of, or emerges from an orientation and a sensation, or those, as you move the orientation, I don't know, I don't have this in my head all the way yet. I might try and pitch this to Jeff. Sometimes here he's actually looking it out. Let me burn through this before I try and figure it out. Sometimes it's best to read the whole thread, not understand, and then come back and see what everybody filled in. Okay. Additionally, I wasn't really able to identify on the whiteboard which of the layers would represent a stable representation of the object. Just from the lines on the whiteboard, it would make sense to me if L5 were performing a pooling function and its output depicted stable object representations. This would explain the lateral connections with L5 and other columns for voting. That's the one that Jeff didn't seem to have an idea about, or he didn't say anything about them. But he did say they were voting, but not really necessarily about what. I keep thinking that has to do with motion. That has to be like voting about what motion, or either motion or time. I always think of motion and time as being very similar things in the brain anyway, because the brain experiences time through motion. So I think it's technically for the brain the same thing, time and motion. Okay, just from, where was I? This would explain the lateral connections with L5 and other columns and the projections through the thalamus to another region, supporting composite objects and hierarchy. From this perspective, the output of L2-3 could be interpreted as a stable representation of the object from one position, and the output of L5 as a stable representation of that object from all positions. That's interesting. But you could still think of that as a place, right? The stable representation of an object from one position maybe you could call that a place field, perhaps. I don't know if that's if I'm mapping the concept. We know there's a hierarchy. How does this fit in? I don't know. Okay, so this still doesn't explain what's happening in L6B, which is that layer labeled as location on the whiteboard. Why would L5 need input from L23, representing a specific location on a specific object, and from L6B? Okay, this is what I do. At this point, I'm going to defer to Jeff. And what I do is I just send him an email and I say, Jeff, here's a good question. You should answer this. Because it's pretty detailed and he's the guy that knows more of the answers than me. So give me a sec. I'm just going to compose an email offline and ask Jeff to answer this. And this is what he expects. He asked me to do this. It's a good forum question on layers from yesterday's stream. Jeff, please have a look at this. Jeff is writing a book right now. That's like all he's spending his time on. All right. So I'm going to try and get Jeff in on this action. Because it seems like pretty good questions, and I don't know the answers. And maybe there's some good ideas in here. This still doesn't explain what's happening in L6B, as we were saying. Why would L5 need input from L23 representing a specific location on a specific object, and from L6B also representing a specific location on a specific object? I don't know. I don't know. Why is this layer needed? It seems redundant. Is this related to displacement in composite objects? Anyway, I'm still mulling over the ideas. Figured I would post some initial thoughts. Okay. Okay, good questions. Good question. He's got a lot of good answers, but not as many good questions. Falco, hey Falco. Don't see you online, but hello. Pretty sure I understand that one system, layers 6B and 5, is for placing in the lateral space and another system in the radial space. When you move in a straight line, maybe so, Mark. I don't know. I don't know. Top down, yeah, I don't know. You're right. Top down and bottom up do have to converge somehow. Anyway, when you turn, a second system changes. The second system changes when you move and turn at the same time. Both systems are impacted. They feed off each other when necessary. I've been thinking about this the whole morning. I'd like to speculate. Please take this with a grain of salt. When you move in a straight line, essentially you're considering features in 2 dimensions. Features come closer or go together. Every feature on that straight line moves with an equal delta. Only when you add a second system that somehow works with an angular input, your brain can build a model in 3 dimensions. So this is somewhat similar to, we're talking about this object recognition project. We're keeping it in 2 dimensions so we don't have to deal with orientation. Orientation is almost like another dimension, you know, you're adding to the problem. I guess it is. It's sort of like adding that 3rd dimension then, because you're no longer restricted. But even in 2 dimensions, you can have an agent that has an orientation in the environment, and as a part of its movements is turning and changing its orientation. So when Jeff saw the idea of our object recognition project, he liked it, and he thought one of the reasons he liked it was because you start without orientation and you may be able to add it at some point in the future as a part of the recognition tasks. This is back to that grid vector thing from earlier. You're talking about the object vector cells. How to generate place fields in grid cells. Okay, let's go back. You convinced me. Let's go back to there. How to generate place fields in grid cells. Okay, there is something at work to form the cluster of features that we can identify as a Moser grid cell being active when certain inputs are present. I think that in time dimension will show how the thousand brains theory builds up to doing this. I think the Calvin tiles method, hex grid coding, shows great promise, but until I get demo code running, to show this in action is just another pretty theory. Just to clarify relationship, mini columns made up of HTM cells grouped together to form hex grid coding to interact with hex grid codes and other maps to display the macro property of activation spot in the grid cell array. This is, but Mark, the thing that, okay, this is all within a cortical column, right? This is the mini columns operating within a cortical column. If I can think of it that way, I have to think of it within a cortical column. Because, honestly, because Jeff restricts the research thinking for Numenta to really trying to understand the column as its own entity, where it's very hard for me to branch off and think too much about columns interacting together. So as long as this idea of mini columns, of these being mini columns here, and there's another mini column perhaps, and maybe these are all mini columns, all operating as sort of grid cell modules within one cortical column. Okay, so you don't have that restriction. Are you talking to me, Mark, or Tachyon? Anyway, I just want to make sure we can think about this as one cortical column. The black spots are mini columns. The colored lines are competition winning lateral connections. Okay. The red one, the red in one map and the blue in another. Okay. So these seem like grid cell bumps to me. Grid cell module bumps is what I hear them called whenever I see them in the math. Even the mathematicians call them this. They're sort of emergent Mexican hat style bumps that emerge in these grid cell patterns, and you can make them move mathematically by changing oscillatory features. At least I've seen that. So you're just getting sort of a taste of the research that I've seen. As I continue recording research meetings, I think you guys will get a better understanding of what we have thought about and what have not thought about, because I'm not the best one to inform you about that. Like I said, I'm not on the research team. I sort of have a window into research, and I mean, the math is way over my head. But there's some super detailed models of grid cell behavior that I know we've done. I mean, see the recent paper from Marcus and Mirko had a lot of that stuff, but they've done more that are along these lines. It's only off the reservation if it's outside of a cortical column. If we're talking about grid cell dynamics within a cortical column, it's totally fair game. But because, I mean, I've heard a lot that there's got to be some link between grid cell modules and mini columns, and it could be that mini columns in one layer are, because mini columns run through the cortical column, are attaching somehow. This is total speculation on my part, but there could be that mini column activations in one layer can trigger grid cell module activations in another layer, and they sync together somehow. I mean, I think that is probably how some of this is working, and a sensation can spark a grid cell module to sort of sync up with an input or something. Like I said, this is speculation on my part, but I have to think about it within a cortical column. So I'm glad that's close. So the yellow spots are in a third map where the projections from the red and blue maps coincide. So all this hex grid stuff it's really reminiscent of from some of the high-level mathematical stuff I've seen people do with grid cell modules. So before Mirko left, maybe I can get this and show it to you guys, because I thought it was impressive, even though I didn't really understand what it was. He had this mathematical model, and he has animations of it, and so he'll like divide a space up, and this is really, really hard for me to explain, but there would be different sections of the space that emerged, And this was all, he's trying to have a model of how grid cell-like module behavior can emerge in a way that separates. So anyway, he's got a model that emerged where he would have bumps like this over here, and they'd have some pattern, and they would converge in the middle very smoothly. And then this one would have a completely different pattern of grid cell bumps, maybe at a different scale or a different orientation. But the line between them, he worked the math out, so there's this nice sort of convergence. Have you ever seen one of those trippy screensavers, you know, where you've got two patterns that sort of converge in the middle? And I think that looked really promising to me. Like that idea, because you've got to have these different sort of grid fields or something acting together across your whole cortex. They're not all going to be the same. Same logic is, okay, good, yeah. And the thing is, I mean, that gives me confidence that we're on the right track, because I know Mirko doesn't read the forum. Like, he doesn't have much of a public persona, I guess. You know, he's a German mathematician and super smart guy, but it's hard to follow his work, you know. Unfortunately, he's gone on to work with Illa Fiat. The paper that he just wrote with Marcus, he's going to work for Illa, who's one of the authors of the paper. So he's going to be doing similar stuff. He came to Numenta because he wanted to understand the mathematical properties that he could. Here's what he said. He said, I'm paraphrasing him. He said he saw some of the beautiful concepts of mathematics in the brain exposed in some of our theories, and he wanted to explore it. He wanted, especially grid cells. He was super excited about grid cells. So all of his work, I think, had in one way or another had something to do with grid cells and how they can emerge and how they can interact with each other and what properties they have. Very interesting stuff. So maybe, hopefully, I can try and expose some of that stuff over time. So anyway, I'm getting off topic. The topic is how to generate place fields, and I think I see what you're saying. I don't think this is what Jeff was saying at all. Right? This is not what he was talking about in the video yesterday. This is a different idea. It's sort of like the convergence of two maps in the same space gives you another map, right? And that map could be a place field, right? And that's just, you get that just from the properties of geometry. Does that make sense? Which I can totally see that. But that's not what we think about as place fields, but it could be something, I don't know. Okay, all right, moving on. I got through everything. Okay, let's do some work. I've been doing this for an hour. It takes me an hour to get through forum stuff. Yeah, so that could be. So that's interesting. You can certainly put a bunch of these grid cell modules together to form other representations that you might use to identify bigger things or a collection of things, you know. All right, so I'm happy I got that done here. I don't have to worry about this. I don't have to worry about this. I am going to ping Lewis about this, and I'll let him deal with it.